Join me as I tackle the challenge of taking English quizzes without getting tripped up by misunderstandings. When it comes to taking English quizzes, one of the biggest obstacles students face is misunderstandings. You might be familiar with the feeling. You read the question, you think you know the answer, but somehow you end up getting it wrong. It's frustrating and it can be demotivating. But the thing is, misunderstandings are often a result of not grasping the nuances of the English language. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Idiomatic phrases can be a major source of confusion. Phrases like break a leg or bend over backwards don't literally mean what they say. And if you're not familiar with them, you might end up choosing the wrong answer. Another common issue is verb tenses. English has so many different tenses, and each one has its own specific use. For example, the difference between the present perfect and the simple past can be tricky, but it's essential to get it right. Then there are homophones, words that sound the same but have different meanings. There, and there are a classic example. If you're not careful, you might choose the wrong one. And finally, there are words with multiple meanings. Take the word bank, for instance. It can refer to a financial institution, the side of a river, or even the act of turning an aircraft. Let's take a closer look at some quiz questions that often confuse students. For example, by the time I finish my homework, it was midnight. The correct answer is had finished. But many students get tripped up because they're not familiar with the correct use of the past perfect tense. Another example is, if I not spend so much money, I would have enough to travel. Again, the correct answer is had not spent, but it's easy to get it wrong if you're not careful. Then there's, the teacher asked the student to do the homework again. This one's tricky because the correct answer is to do, but many students choose doing instead. And finally, there's, the company will not increase the price of their products next year. The correct answer is not increase, but it's easy to get it wrong if you're not familiar with the correct use of the future perfect tense. So, how can you avoid these misunderstandings? One key strategy is to practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the more familiar you'll become with tricky grammar rules and idiomatic phrases. Another strategy is to read the question carefully and identify the key words. Then, take your time and think about the context of the question. What is the question asking? What is the topic? Finally, use process of elimination to narrow down your options. If you're not sure of the answer, try eliminating any options that are clearly incorrect, and then make an educated guess. Reading the question carefully and identifying the key words is crucial. It's easy to get distracted by lengthy questions or confusing vocabulary. But if you take your time, you'll be more likely to get the answer right. Another tip is to use contextual reading. Don't just focus on the question itself. Read the passage or text that comes with it. This will give you a better understanding of the topic and help you make sense of the question. And finally, practice with sample quizzes. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become with the format and the types of questions. In conclusion, avoiding misunderstandings in English quizzes is all about grasping the nuances of the language. By familiarizing yourself with tricky grammar rules, idiomatic phrases, and homophones, you'll be more confident and better equipped to tackle even the toughest quiz questions. Remember to read the questions carefully, identify the key words, and use process of elimination to narrow down your options. Thanks for watching, and if you have any tips or experiences you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. Try out the English quiz question in the link in the descriptions, and don't forget to check out my other videos on English learning tips and tricks.